What's going on, Bulls Nation, and welcome in to CHGO Bulls Pregame, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook. Download the app and use promo code CHGO when you sign up. I'm Peck. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Peck. It's my guy, Will the Goat Gottlieb. He is Will_Gottlieb on Twitter. We are CHGO_Bulls. Our pal producer, Joey, is at Joey's Paths on Twitter. Give him a follow as well. Our guy, Big Dave, will be joining us for postgame after Bulls and Nets. What a crazy day it has been, Will.
You glossed over Joey, and I just want to ask about how the race to 800 is going.
The race to 800. Wait, my mic's not in? Hold on.
Mic's not in. Technical difficulties.
His mic's not in. Hold that thought.
We can talk about something else.
Okay, so shout out to our great crews of CHGO White Sox and CHGO Bears who covered crazy breaking news today. The Sox have a new manager. The Bears made another huge trade. Chase Claypool, welcome to Chicago. Pals with our tight end Cole Kmet.
What a cool trade.
Craziness. They were like live. The Bears crew was live streaming for hours leading up to, and then shortly after that trade deadline in the NFL passed today. And then the NBA was like, no, wait, hold my beer. You can all have some crazy news today, but we will still have the craziest
Not
news.
even the NBA, the Brooklyn Nets.
The Brooklyn Nets.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Thank you, Joey. The soundboard is on. What about your mic?
The mic is back. Yes, the race to 800 is going well. I'd like to give a shout out to our teammate and Mark and a friend, Mark K. His tweet the other night, it did a lot of damage for me. It single-handedly pushed the race to 700 over the top and begun the race to 800. Mark, we're so excited to have you in Chicago. Follow my boy MK Hoops. Love that guy. Love everybody. Love all of you, Bulls Nation.
I love how you also just dropped that little nugget. Apparently, Will, you just told me right before we hopped on that Mark has made that news public. Our friend from down under, the king of Bulls Australia, Mark K., the fifth member of our crew, is coming to Chicago later this season.
Crazy.
So stoked to have him here. But yes, the Nets have gone full crazy. It seemed like it was just going to be the breaking news of the day was, oh, wow, Steve Nash and the Nets have decided to part ways, because that in itself was crazy.
And we're talking about 6 games into the season. 7 games into the season.
Right. They're 2-5, I believe, after finally getting a win against Indy the other night. So, 7 games in. Turns out the whole, okay, we're all fine, even though KD asked for Nash and Marks to be gone and then asked to be traded, or whichever order those things came in. None of that happened. Then training camp was like, oh, yeah, we're all great. We're all best friends. 7 games in. And I'm curious because the first tweet was Woj saying he's been fired. And then Shams was like, mutual.
Agreed to part ways.
And then Woj followed it up with, okay, actually, per sources, it was mutual. Will, how do you think it actually went down? Do you think it was mutual? Or to me, if anyone is wanting to engage a conversation to begin the breakup of this partnership, if it were me, it would be me, Steve Nash, being get me the F out of here.
I was thinking about this just when the original... I shouldn't say original because there's been a long laundry list of Kyrie stuff going on.
Right.
The most recent Kyrie stuff, I would have just been like, all right, I'm out. See you guys. I'm done with this. This is not what I signed up for. I wanted to be a basketball coach. I don't want to deal with all this other stuff. So I would have just logged out then.
Yeah.
But from what it sounds like, I mean, I think basically what happened is Steve Nash went to Sean Marks. I can't remember who reported this or if Marks just said it in the press conference. They're not responding to me.
Right.
And so I think from there, it's just they're not responding to me means like, all right, let's figure this out because it's not really working for me. I'm sure the Nets are like, yeah, it's not really working for us either. Let's agree to part ways. I do think if Steve Nash were to just quit, he wouldn't have gotten paid the remainder of his contract.
Right.
Whereas if he was fired, he would until he got his next job. So that probably factors in. But like,
Because if we recall back from his playing days in the Lakers, he was very bluntly honest about it when he was like too hurt to play, didn't really feel like playing, but wasn't retiring because he was like, no lie, I want the money.
money talks.
That it does. So, yeah, you saw that initial tweet there from Shams. Thank you, Joey. And then just so we can maybe read some tea leaves, there's also Steve Nash's statement that he issued from his personal Twitter account.
Oh, I didn't even see this.
That I thought was interesting.
Matt, I forgot to tell you that the graphic was too big.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No worries.
Okay. Just tell you now.
It was very complimentary and very gracious and thankful for the Joe Tsai, both of the Tsais as well as Sean Marks. And basically, wishing the Nets the best and thanking everyone for his time there, and also saying, thank you, Nets fans. Brooklyn is home. It was weird for a trying to be a positive PR spin, of a coach who clearly, by all accounts, was ready to be done with this. There you go. Thank you, Joey. Just pulled up the statement from Nash there.
Yeah, it's just, a really strange situation. And like I said, I can't blame him for not wanting to be there. There's just so much non-basketball stuff going on there that, that's just like, it's almost just not in the job description
right.
to have to deal with this. So I don't blame him. I respect the fact that he's trying to leave with some class, but and then, we can get into the Ime Udoka stuff, but like this whole thing is just, it's a disgrace. That's the only word I can come up with. It's a disgrace. Wild.
So, initially, the timeline of this news breaking today was just batshit crazy. So at first, after the Nash being fired stuff went down, there was a tweet from, I believe, Woj, who said, Jacques Vaughn acting as head coach tonight against the Bulls, but expect the Nets to inquire with suspended Celtics coach Ime Udoka, as well as Quinn Snyder, among others. Boston will let Udoka leave for another job. And then shortly thereafter, there's this tweet from Shams that Joey has up on your screen right now. The Brooklyn Nets plan to hire Ime Udoka as their new head coach, sources tell The Athletic. Boston granted the Nets permission to speak to Udoka and will allow him to leave freely, sources said. That is at 1:13 p.m., and I'm pretty sure the Steve Nash stuff happened right around noon. And the craziest part is that, I don't know if you saw this, Will or Joey, Sean Marks just spoke to the media leading up to tonight's Bulls-Nets game and was asked by a reporter who said, there are multiple reports, aka from Shams and from Woj, the two most trusted NBA reporters on the planet, stating that you have hired or made a decision on Steve Nash's replacement. Is that accurate? And Sean Marks flatly denied it. What is going on?
Yeah, I'm not too surprised by that. Basically, it's the same as reporting a draft pick. Like the team will come out the next day or an hour later, or whatever it is, and say we've drafted. Like they don't want to acknowledge that they want to be the ones that put out the news. So
right.
That doesn't surprise me. I think the larger issue around Udoka and his suspension with the Celtics and the Nets' ability to do their due diligence on him as a candidate and all the the background stuff between him and whatever happened in Boston. Clearly they were either thinking about this for some extended period of time prior to firing Steve Nash or parting ways with Steve Nash. Or they're just we got to find somebody else to solve this problem, who, by the way, brings a ton of baggage in with him to a team that does not need any more baggage.
It's wild to me that the Nets are yep, this is the way to go. Not to discredit Ime Udoka's coaching chops, because we clearly just saw him as a first-time NBA head coach last season lead a team all the way to 2 wins shy of a championship. So the guy is a good coach, but he is embroiled in controversy right now. Suspended from the team for which he is under contract, and the Nets are that's our guy.
Yeah.
When you have all of the Kyrie drama going on and everything else that and this bad start that the team is off to, it's just wild to me. Pour one out for the poor Nets PR department. How the hell are they going to spin this?
I saw some post on Twitter that they're actually hiring for their PR department, and somebody was like, "Yeah, the salary for that job just went up. This is a nightmare."
Because that is not a fun job right now.
And like for me, I mean, this summer, I don't know if you'll recall, but like when we talked about the Nets offseason, I applauded what they did because they held firm on Kevin Durant's trade demand. They brought in as much talent as they possibly could have given their limitations. And I thought that they like put themselves in a position to be competitive. But like looking at how it's gone so far, I mean, there's blame to go all around. But I think it has to start at the top. When Joe Tsai comes in and allows all this stuff to happen, of course it's going to continue on this pathway until they make some major changes. And I don't know if that starts with like waiving Kyrie or maybe not bringing in a coach who is under investigation for inappropriate relationships in the workplace. I mean, just overseeing an organization like that and then continuing to double down. It's
right.
Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. It's wild. So, we'll see if we get the official announcement in coming days that is, in fact, their plan. They're going to hire Udoka to come in and be their coach this season. Boston will just say, fine, go. Because there was, another theory kind of, floating around that the reason the Celtics suspended Udoka instead of just straight out firing him is because they maybe knew there were some murmurings that the Nets wanted Udoka back. But if they kept Udoka under contract and just suspended him, that would prevent him from going to coaching a division rival that has a lot of talent and is trying to be competitive. But maybe the Celtics 180'd on that to say, you know what, it's not worth the headache. You deal with this headache.
I think also, going back to the idea of why Steve Nash maybe didn't just quit is the money aspect of it. I read somewhere, and I'm not sure if this is substantiated, but it sounds like the Celtics made or like cut Udoka's pay for the time that he was suspended, but didn't want to just like fire him because then they'd owe him the rest of his contract until he got a new job. So the fact that they're allowing him to now go, take an interview or take this job with the Nets, they're going to be off the hook for that money, which helps them in some capacity.
I like this comment from our guy, Michael D. Showers, who said, I just need the Bulls to add to the Nets' struggles and get that win back. Yeah, I mean, you would think maybe the Bulls are in a good spot to just absolutely come out here and dominate the Nets tonight, even though they are in Brooklyn. The Nets defensively look atrocious this season. They're embroiled in all this, chaos and drama. But there is also that little thing that happens often, in the NBA especially, when you have a change in head coaches or an interim coach comes in, and the first game that happens after that coaching change, fired coach bump. The Bulls are facing the fired coach bump tonight, but hopefully they are ready for it. Going to take a quick break here and tell you all how much fun you should be having with DraftKings. While reading this ad, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button and subscribe to the CHGO Sports YouTube channel if you aren't already. We got some injury updates for the Bulls and Nets coming up next after this quick break. NBA fans, the wait is over. Basketball back. So to tip off the season with DraftKings Sportsbook, you should download that app if you haven't already. It's the official sports betting partner of the NBA and of us here at CHGO. New customers can make any $5 NBA moneyline bet and get $200 in free bets if your team wins. And check this out. In addition to those usual bets, everyone can boost their winnings up to 100% with DraftKings stepped-up same-game parlays. I'm rocking DeMar points tonight. I'm rocking Vooch boards tonight. I'm rocking Zach LaVine made threes tonight. And I believe I'm rocking Kevin Durant points tonight.
Bulls scoring is going to do well against this Nets team that does not have Ben Simmons tonight and plays zero defense even with him.
Speaking of, also put a good amount of money on the over in tonight's game. So there's that. Go to the DraftKings Sportsbook app, opt in, and place a stepped-up same-game parlay today. With payouts bigger than ever, DraftKings Sportsbook is where I go to bet on the NBA. So download that DraftKings Sportsbook app right now. Use promo code CHGO. Make any $5 moneyline bet for the NBA, and you will get $200 in free bets if your team wins. $200 in free bets. Only at the DraftKings Sportsbook app with promo code CHGO. Lot of stuff to churn through here on the injury report. So let's talk good news first. Bulls starting lineup just dropped on Twitter. It is official. Io was questionable with this, injury that he suffered, like a stiff neck, stiff back thing after he left and was in briefly concussion protocol over the weekend. He is in and starting. Zach LaVine, knee management, in and starting. DeMar, Pat, and Vooch. So essentially your initial starting five to start off the season with Lonzo on the shelf. That's your starting five for tonight. Good news there on that front for Zach and Io. Drummond still out with that shoulder strain, although more good news there, Will, in that they did do an MRI and nothing more severe than just a shoulder strain. So hopefully that he's back soon, but Billy's saying that he's just still dealing with some immobility and stiffness in that shoulder.
Yeah, and from what it sounded like just when Billy gave the original update, it's going to be not just a day-to-day thing. I don't think it's going to be a long-term thing, but like maybe a week or so seemed like what he was suggesting. So it's not surprising to me that he's out this game.
Yeah. And then the other one that was a bit of a surprise when it popped up on the injury report is Kobe White, who was listed questionable with a left quad contusion that I guess happened sometime during their game on Saturday night. And the most recent update was game time decision. And since he is a bench player and you don't really know, obviously not in the starting lineup, I guess we'll see. Kobe, I guess it's going to be one of those nights where he goes through pregame warm-ups and then they make a call from there. They did rule him out?
They did rule him out tonight.
Okay.
He basically said that he did not practice yesterday and that he's out tonight. He'll try to play tomorrow. Not sure when, but he took a knee at some point during the 76ers game. So he is going to be out tonight, but we'll try to play tomorrow.
Right on. So hopefully it's a quick absence for Kobe as well as a quick absence for Drummond. But great news that Io's back and that Zach is playing tonight. Jason in the comments saying, let's go Io. Fontaine saying Io, Morgan Park, love. Would love to see Io maybe, shut some people down. Namely Kyrie, if he gets that assignment out of the gate.
I'm hoping
love that.
I just want Zach LaVine to dunk Kyrie into retirement tonight.
Would also love that. Would also
that's really
love
that's what
that.
I'm hoping for.
Have Nets fans turned on Kyrie yet? Like, does he get booed in their home stadium?
I hope so.
Because he's producing, he's putting up points, but
some things are bigger than basketball.
Everything else about him right now is a dude that is worth booing, even if he's playing in your team's jersey.
Get that garbage out of here.
Goodness, yeah, seriously. So those are all of the injury updates for tonight's game. Mostly good news for the Bulls. The Nets, Simmons was held out of their victory over the Pacers last night, was questionable coming into tonight's game. Shams said last night, okay, they'll probably, if they hold him out tonight, then he'll probably play Tuesday against the Bulls. No, they're holding him out again tonight with a left knee. Simmons coming into this season, coming off of off-season back surgery. So obviously Nets being cautious with him, a guy who basically has not played competitive basketball in 1.5 seasons leading into this season. So, of course, the big joke on Bulls Twitter today, Will, was, Simmons not playing? Is that good for the Bulls or bad for the Bulls? Because he can play defense, but he's pretty much so far looked like the complete non-threat offensively that we all thought he would be.
Yeah, he is. The 76ers are almost 17 points per 100 possessions better with him off the court. So maybe it is worse for the Bulls, but he is really like their only capable defensive player. He's not looked like himself, and I don't really hold that against him yet. Like you said, I mean, it's like 7 games back, fewer for him since he last played in the, 2020, 2021 playoffs.
Yeah.
So he's going to take some time to get back into game shape, but I mean, still scared of the rim, still scared of, going to the basket with any sort of aggression, getting the free throw line, shooting the ball, it's hard to play basketball as a primary ball handler who is afraid to do anything with the ball in their hands.
Yeah. DeAndre in the comments saying it just seems like Simmons doesn't want to play. It certainly seemed like that right when the Philly-Brooklyn trade was going down. Certainly his last days in Philly when he finally reported to practices after refusing to report for a while. We all got that footage of him standing aloof in the corner by himself, and then you assume he was happy about the Brooklyn trade because he got out of Philly, somewhere he clearly did not want to be. And now it's still just, I don't know about doesn't want to play, because it did seem like when the Nets have had moments where they've been playing well and he's been out there contributing to playing well, you've seen him smile, you've seen him engage with teammates. What he definitely still does not appear to have any interest in is shooting a basketball, which
yeah, and I just don't think that's going to change for a while. Like the stuff that's weird to me is like in transition when he gets a steal, he's like pulling it out and trying to find somebody to pass to instead of like going and dunking the way he used to.
Right.
That's the weird part for me. He's never going to be somebody who shoots the ball willingly. And I mean, it's kind of like Giannis. I mean, it's different stratospheres, but like people are always saying like, oh, if Giannis develops a jump shot, then he's going to be unstoppable. Well, guess what? Giannis is already unstoppable. And so it's kind of a similar situation with Simmons. Like if he just felt comfortable playing in his own skin, being the player that he is, I think he'd be fine. But right now it just doesn't look like he's comfortable at all. And that could take some time, or he could be,
People forget he was like a 17 points per game guy.
17 points per game on like 60% shooting. Like he was really
He doesn't want to get fouled is what a lot of people around the league believe it is. He doesn't want to go and shoot free throws, and so he won't even look at the rim.
Right. And the biggest block on that stack of evidence was that playoff game where everything went south for Philly, where he had that dunk, theoretically wide open dunk attempt under the rim, but didn't want to get fouled and dished it off, and everything went to hell for Philly. Also for the Nets on the injury report front, Seth Curry also did not play in their game last night against Indy with a left ankle, also has been scratched for this game as well. One of the most lethal marksmen behind the three-point line in the NBA. So good news for the Bulls defense there, as we've discussed at length, Will, so far through their first 7 games, how much this Bulls team has struggled defending the three-point line, and also just sort of been on the side of a little bit of bad luck with maybe just how insanely hot their opponents have been.
Really weird shooting stretch situation for the Bulls. And the Nets still have a lot of really good shooters out there. Obviously Kyrie, KD, Joe Harris are sort of the ones that stand out, and we'll see I haven't actually looked who the Nets are going to be starting tonight. But they are going to have no problems putting up points. I think for the Bulls, it's going to be outscoring them and seeing if they can get stops. And when you remove some of those really lethal offensive weapons that they have, it just becomes a little bit easier.
Yeah. Shout out to Jake in the comments with a super chat saying, I will say, even as a Sixers fan, it stinks to see how Ben is now. I know he's been a meme, but before all of this, he was a hell of a player. I mean, you're talking about a guy like all NBA, all defensive team. We all remember that version of Ben Simmons. It wasn't that long ago. It's crazy how much he has fallen.
And like one of the premier defenders in the NBA. Really, I mean, I was a big Ben Simmons fan. It's really
one of the first guys that you started talking about legitimately being able to guard 1 through 5.
Yeah. It sucks to see guys like even Fultz too for another Sixer. Like it sucks to see these guys completely just collapse out of nowhere. And
what's in the water over there at Philly?
Yeah, I mean,
guys coming allergic to shooting all of a sudden.
It's weird.
You never know, man. It's Philly. Philly's crazy.
A lot of people in the chat. Cosmic Keys.
Talking about
Jacob Fiao,
a breakout P-Dub game tonight.
Michael Showers. A lot of P-Dub predictions here. I'm wondering if holding that bag is in here somewhere.
Cosmic Keys saying 24 and 12 from Pat tonight. 6 blocks?
Six blocks.
All right, you know what? If Lowry Marketing could get 4 effing blocks in their yet another Jazz win the other night, the Pack could get 6. I spent 4 seasons watching Lowry Marketing play basketball in a Bulls jersey and did not collectively see 4 blocks from him.
Yeah, he
got 4 blocks in one game.
Didn't have 4 blocks
24,
in his Bulls career.
12 rebounds, 3 steals, and 6 blocks. Is that your prediction, or is those Pat's stats cumulatively to this point this season?
Outrageous. Absolutely outrageous. All right, we got a little bit of time left. Wanted to just as tough as things have been for the Nets, more losses than wins so far, dealing with this coaching change, Kyrie being an insane person. Kyrie and KD, their 2 big stars, are balling out so far. Joey, do we have these numbers from them? Thank you. So 32.6 points per game from KD on a very, uncommon low 3-point percentage, but everything else about that. And you could still see Kevin Durant with all of the season in front of him getting that back up to 50, 40, 90 KD territory. But 32.6 per game. Kyrie, just over 30 points per game, not shooting too well from behind the 3-point line thus far, but those are both on pace to be their best career points per game numbers. Right now, through 7 games, they are both averaging career highs and giving you a combined 62 points, nearly 63 points a game, and the Nets are 2-5.
I mean, I have no explanations. I haven't seen any Nets basketball this year. I would imagine they're just kind of going rogue and doing their own thing, and they're talented enough to do that. Like, it doesn't surprise me that they're putting up those numbers.
Can't get stops though.
It's just the rest of their ecosystem defensively, as far as like playing to a system of offensive basketball, it's just not there, and that's why it's reflected in the record.
Yeah. I saw some people in the comments earlier talking about worrying about their role players like Patty Mills and Joe Harris. Shout out to Niles in the comments who said, you can't let those guys kill us tonight. I think maybe people thought this Nets team was deeper than it is, and people gave them, credit for making that deal with Utah, like before the big dominoes in Utah fell. The Nets kind of,
Why would they do that?
Why would they do that? I mean, but I think the one thing that absolutely they have been hammered on is like they have no interior defense. It'll be interesting to see if the Bulls try and establish Vooch early and often tonight to see if they can let him just dominate, whether it be drawing fouls or getting easy buckets inside. Because like this Nets team, just interior defense not there.
Yeah, and I think Claxton's all right. I mean, I think he has potential to be sort of that rim roller, rim protector type of center, but like, it's just very difficult to have two complete non-shooters on the floor at any given time. So in that sense, I do think that they could potentially be a little bit more offensively potent here without Simmons, just because I was just looking at their starting lineup. It's going to be Kyrie, Joe Harris, KD, Royce O'Neal, and Claxton. So that's 4 really good shooters in that same lineup. They've also been dealing with injuries. Seth Curry played 1 game. TJ Warren has been out. So they're not fully whole. They clearly have like a fractured locker room, more stuff going on than we could possibly comprehend. And they're just not playing good basketball.
No, they are not. More love for P-Dub in the comments from Jacob saying P-Dub time. Jake predicting that Lowry could be an all-star. Oh no, he's saying he's an all-star so far this year. That's the one thing that I think people are talking about with Lowry. And I know our guy Mark has mentioned it on Twitter a couple times too. It's like, talk to me when Lowry's been doing this for 2 months.
We haven't even played 10 games yet. Like there's no all-star race yet.
And we have seen short stints from Lowry in a Bulls jersey that looked like this. But can he do it over the course of a full season? But I mean, right now, he's playing Lowry is looking like front runner for most improved player.
The Jazz
right
are
now
6-2. They're 3rd place in the West right now. It's crazy.
Ainge got to make some more trades, man. They
Spurs
are failing
too.
at the tank.
Spurs are failing at the tank too.
Yeah, well, we did them a favor there.
Bulls.
God, I can't believe we lost to the Spurs. God, that one's still eating at me.
They've been good. Keldon Johnson has been cooking.
Yeah. I'm a spooky kid. He said Brooklyn is a team of divas. That's putting it kindly. That's an insult to divas. This team is a dumpster fire, and I love it. I predicted that the Nets were going to be bad this year, largely because of not being able to get past the drama. We'll see. Maybe a new coach, whether it's Udoka or someone else, will help fix some of this. But I saw this news about Nash today, Will, and I thought to myself, that's not going to solve the Nets' problems. What about you?
I don't think it does. I think the coach is always the easy scapegoat. I think the real source of the problems is Kyrie. I think they're probably not going to cut him or waive him or whatever it is, but that would they probably benefit from that, and like just solves a lot of PR problems. Kyrie sucks. Like this whole thing sucks. It's a longer conversation. The game's about to start, so I don't want to get too deep into it.
We might dive into it in post game, and then maybe we'll also have Big Dave here to get his thoughts on it as well. But honestly, it's crazy. The person whose take I listened to and have appreciated and respected and agreed with the most out of all of this Kyrie and all of the takes coming from it was Nick Wright on his podcast today.
I didn't see that. I have to watch it. There's been a lot of really good articles.
Check it out.
A lot of people saying some really smart stuff. So it's
Nicholas saying good for Nash. This is probably the best thing for him. I tweeted that. I was like, dude, you won't find a person in a better mood today than Steve Nash. Done with the drama. Go enjoy the money and retirement. Maybe come back to coaching down the road if you want to. But in the meantime, we can't be rooting for anybody related to the Brooklyn Nets because we got to go beat them right now. It's 6:31.
They have to beat the Nets.
Have to.
I think the Nets are probably going to, whether it's like the coaching fired bump or just like all the drama. They're like gonna come out and play hard. They're not gonna just fold over.
Right.
The Bulls need to win this game.
Yeah.
They cannot, like, just from every single level that you can imagine. Like,
especially
they need to win
after
this game.
and adding on top of tonight's game, giving one away to Washington, giving one away to San Antonio. Sixers lost a tough loss. Dug yourself another hole, got back in it, lost in the final minute of play. But those two losses, you gotta bounce back with a win tonight against
Time
a
to
team
send
this
a message.
dysfunctional. And a team that is this flawed, like, on the court. Send a message, just like Will said. We will be back for postgame. In the meantime, you go hit us up on Twitter, Bulls_Peck, Will_Gottlieb, CHGO_Bulls. Get our guy Joey Spathis to 800.
Joey.
Follow him at Joey Spathis. And knock on wood, we'll have our guy Big Dave joining us as well for postgame. Hit that thumbs up button. One more reminder, if you haven't hit it yet before you head out of here, let's go Bulls. Let's go beat the Nets. Let's go beat the Brooklyn Divas. See you, Red. Be good. See you for postgame.